Welcome to BaseballGuys.com here and Around the Horn on this Friday. I'm Ray Flowers. Why do I have an Angels jersey behind me? Well, there's a situation with the club that bears close monitoring for those of you in AL-only leagues and even those of you in mixed leagues. Mark Trumbo, the rookie first baseman for the Angels, who has seen a lot of playing time because Kendry Morales' inability to get back on the field, he might have to start sharing time at first base. The GM of the Angels, Tom Riggins, came out and said, look, we acquired Russell Branyan, and we want to give this guy a shot to play. We might even play Branyan full-time against right-handed pitching at first base. Why would they do that? Well, Trumbo's only hitting .229 with an OPS of barely 700 against righties this year. Clearly, this would be a big boost for Branyan, who would be in the lineup on a regular basis, and it would greatly diminish the value of Trumbo if he's only facing those left-handers on the wrong side of that platoon. Keep a close eye on that situation, because we know Branyan's not exactly the healthiest guy in the world, but when he is out there, he does bash. Could be terrible news for Mark Trumbo owners. Good news if you're a JP Arencebia owner, however. He's been catching about 3 out of every 5 days until the last 10 or so days, and now the Blue Jays came out and said, look, we're going to make this guy pretty much our full-time catcher, with Jose Molina receding into the woodwork. Molina's probably going to go from playing 60% of the time to about 80% of the time. Obviously good news for the youngster who has a big power bat. Now he's second at the position, the catcher position that is, in home runs. He's fourth at the position in RBIs. I do worry a little bit about his approach. His walk to strikeout ratio is 0.37, not a very good rate, especially for a youngster. He hasn't got on base very well in the month of May, especially under 300. He's barely hitting in the 220s in the month of May as well. Good news for Arencebia. He should also continue to be pounding the ball deep. That's the skill that he definitely has. Just be wary about the batting average. It may not be something that's beneficial to your fantasy squad. Did I tell you? Well, I may not have told you, but I think I did tell you about Homer Bailey. What happened to Homer Bailey? Well, he was removed from his start, apparently injuring himself while swinging. It was initially said it's cramps. Now it's being designated as a sprained shoulder. No word yet on whether or not Bailey's going to hit the disabled list, but you have to think that he will. The team has seen too many ups and downs with him, both physically and performance-wise, that you would have to think they wouldn't want him just to push through this. This is what you get with Homer Bailey. This is why I did suggest not going all in when he was recalled from the minors. As I have said all along, extremely talented, quite capable of being a difference maker, but until he is out there on a consistent basis, I am just not buying it. Phil Humber, well, he has been out there on a consistent basis, and he did so well as a starting pitcher for the White Sox that when Jake Peavy came back off the disabled list, the White Sox went to a 6-man rotation. Now, they realize that's not something that's going to continue long-term. There's a report in the Chicago Sun-Times today talking about the situation and basically suggesting, without outright saying, that Phil Humber could be moved to the bullpen at some point in the very near future. Now, again, this is not a definitive. The team has not made an official announcement on this, but they realize going with 6 starters long-term isn't the best plan. Humber does have great ratios. The ERA is under 3. His whip is under 1. He's arguably been the best pitcher in terms of his performance this year for the White Sox, but at the same time, the skill set is very soft. Ground ball to fly ball ratio is under 1. The strikeout rate is under 5 per 9 innings, and his batting average on balls in play is barely over 200 right now. Lots of room for regression there. I think it would be beneficial for him to move back to the bullpen, not just because of that, but because 6-man rotations, in my opinion, just don't work. Again, not a definitive, but keep that in mind. The Phil Humber train might be coming to a bit of a slowdown here in the near future. Carl Crawford, is he back? I don't know if he's back, but he's finally back to the realm of being someone at least can have in your starting lineup with some a bit of foresight there, some bit of support for his being in your lineup. I just totally butchered that sentence, but I'll just keep going anyway. 8 hits the last 2 days for Carl Crawford, 5 runs scored. His batting average went up 30 points. His OPS went up 102 points in the last 2 days. And in the month of May, you may not have realized this, but a .333 batting average, an .864 OPS, and 18 runs scored. Again, I'm not ready to say he's completely back, but it certainly looks like those of you who had patience with him, or those of you that added him in a deal, are about ready to reap some major rewards. That guy, he's getting going at the right time. And then finally, a guy who just hasn't been able to get going at all is Jose Lopez of the Rockies. In fact, it's been so bad that the team released him. He failed at second base. He failed at third base. And he's been failing basically since the start of the 2010 season. Over those last 718 at-bats, his OPS is .594 with only 12 home runs. Just can't get by doing that in the big leagues. He's released. Where he ends up, we don't know. The Rockies made a corresponding move. They called up Eric Young from the minors. Now, Eric Young is very intriguing, a massive stolen base threat. who's shown it all throughout his minor league career. At AAA this year in 42 games, he not only had scored 45 runs, he'd hit .363 with 17 steals. Now, does he play every day? Dexter Fowler's really struggling. He was recently dropped down to 8th in the order. Jonathan Herrera, good fielder, but he struggled a bit at the plate as well. Seth Smith tweaked a groin muscle. So it really looks like there's a chance for Young to see some substantial playing time, whether it be on the infield or in the outfield. With Fowler being dropped in the order, there's even a chance that Young could see some time at the leadoff spot. Don't know if it's going to happen. Don't know if he's going to play full time. NL only leaguers, he is a must add. If you're in a 15-team league, 15-team mixed league, I would also suggest picking up Eric Young. And even if you're in a 12-teamer, pay close attention, because if he gets that playing time, he could be a huge steals boost to your fantasy squad. I'm Ray Flowers. It's BaseballGuys.com here and Around the Horn, and I will talk to you again next week.